In Dragon Ball Super, the Tournament of Power took 80 fighters from around the multiverse and pitted them against one another in a fight for their own survival. Among the 80 fighters were incredibly powerful warriors, some of whom were so strong that they stood head and shoulders above the rest. As a result, our protagonists from Universe 7 had a very hard-fought battle which brought them to the brink of non-existence. But what if this fight could have actually been easier than it was? What if Universe 7 elected to use a powerful artifact that Universe 6 themselves used? An artifact belonging to the gods that could fuse Goku and Vegeta into what many consider to be the ultimate warrior. What if Vegeta was in the Tournament of Power? Well, in this video, we're going to discuss that. Hey guys, before the video begins, I want to tell you about my second channel, Laughingstock Cinema. On there, I discuss movies and live-action TV shows in reviews, discussions, top lists, and more. So if you're interested in hearing me discuss these topics, check out Laughingstock Cinema in the end screen and the description. Now let's get back to the video. Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be discussing that topic of what if Vegeta was in the Tournament of Power. Yes, the fusion of Goku and Vegeta. So joining me today is someone who is a big fan of one half of Vegito, and probably Vegito in general because of it, and his name is...
Hey guys, it's Josh from Dragon Ball Nation here. How's it going? And Mike, I love Vegito. Way better than Gogeta. Don't start a flame war now, people.
At least Gogeta beat somebody, but anyway, let's get more into Vegito and what he could really do in this Tournament of Power setting, because, you know, unlike the previous ones we've done in this series, Josh, Vegito isn't somebody that we have to make all these special exceptions for. We don't have to replace somebody on Team Universe 7. We don't have to set up some crazy scenario where it happens, because in the confines of the Tournament of Power, within that actual match and that fight itself, Goku and Vegeta were given the option to fuse into somebody like Vegito. You know, it wasn't just extended to Goku and Vegeta, it was extended to all the universes after Kefla fused using the Potara earrings. However...
Right, that went somewhere too, didn't it? It went a lot of places. They did a lot with that whole scenario.
Oh yeah, they did one cool fight. But aside from that, basically, like, Goku and Vegeta were given the option to fuse together. Now, Josh, obviously they didn't do that. They didn't elect to because reasons.
Which I thought they might, but, you know, oh well.
Yeah, I thought it probably was building up to that just because of how powerful Jiren was by comparison. So let's say that Goku and Vegeta did in fact choose to fuse during the opportunity that was given to them. So I guess before the fight with Kefla or during it or whatever you want to say. How big of a difference do you think they would make in the fight against Kefla? And then after that point, how big of a difference do you think they would make in the tournament itself?
Well, I'll say this right in advance. I don't remember how freaking long was left of the tournament when they had the opportunity to fuse, so I'm not going to even consider the fact that they will defuse, okay? Because I don't remember how much time was left. They defused in like, what, 9 or 10 minutes in the Trunks arc, but...
Maybe.
Vegito Blue, I would say, should definitely be able to beat Kefla quite easily. I don't think that's a hard thing to figure out for a lot of people. I think one of the things a lot of people will kind of lean towards is, well, who's stronger? You know, Ultra Instinct Goku slash, you know, the fully, I don't want to say mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, because he's not really mastered, it's just Ultra Instinct Goku. And then the one with the black hair is like, I think in Dokkan they call it, yeah, Omen or Saiyan or something like that. You know, is he stronger than those forms, or is Ultra Instinct stronger? I would lean more towards the side that Ultra Instinct would be more powerful, especially because of how they built it up. The fact that he can obviously dodge hits without even thinking, you know, that just gives him such an advantage. Some people might not want to hear that, some people will already kind of assume it. So to really break this down, I think that they would definitely beat Kefla possibly easier than the regular Ultra Instinct. You know, Vegito Blue in terms of pure strength, maybe not necessarily reaction speed, might be stronger than the basic Ultra Instinct Sign, you know, with the black hair. I think when that forms around, it's not exactly made clear on who's stronger, but I feel like when the white silver hair comes out when he's actually Ultra Instinct Goku, I think at that point it's kind of like, yeah, this is beyond anything we've really seen, you know?
Yeah, and when we're gonna really discuss Vegito's level of power in this too, we probably also have to bring up the fact that in Super, and especially in the Tournament of Power, power, it seems like the multiplier for fusion, or like the boost that it gives the two fusees, is a little bit different than it seemed to be in like Dragon Ball Z.
Right, which I don't think's a bad thing, because when he fought Zamasu, I think that, you know, I did a whole video on this myself on the manga versus the anime for that fight specifically. I think in the anime, the, I guess, subdued multiplier made for a much more enjoyable fight in my opinion. You know, there was a small struggle. You know, Vegeta wasn't hand and fist beating Zamasu necessarily. You know, it made for an interesting battle, whereas the manga, it was basically just the Buhan fight again, really, and it was enjoyable, but in my opinion, not quite as so, because there wasn't as much of a struggle.
Exactly. You know, you want to have some kind of back and forth.
Right. Even if you know they're gonna win, because it's freaking Vegeta still, so.
The only back and forth I didn't really like that much was in the Tournament of Powers climax with Ultra Instinct, just because I feel like they built up Ultra Instinct to be so powerful, and they made it seem like, as Josh said, that it might be above fusion.
Definitely the white-haired form, I would say. Just the way they talked it up, it was just, it seemed too much at that point.
And then Jiren just powers up and can fight him. That's something I always had a problem with.
I didn't like that, Mike. I've never gotten a chance to talk about that. He just kept powering up, and I wasn't a fan that, you know, Jiren started out for this level that was beyond Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken, and then even, you know, on par with Ultra Instinct's Omen phase, I suppose, and then just kept going and going and going until he was at his limits, which it was cool. We got to see his limits and him kind of break down towards the end of the Turn of Power and get to a weakened state, but it's just, it got a little crazy. But at the same time, I think the way the Turn of Power ended, just real quick, was probably better than just Goku beating him by himself, so I think it kind of all worked out in the end. It's hard to end that kind of a fight, really, I guess, with such a powered up antagonist who's so built up to be such a powerhouse and such a big threat, you know, but I think they did good with what they had.
I kind of feel like it would have been better if they just went full on, like, Yusuke versus Sensui.
Right, the three people that are gonna remember that. Yep.
Yeah, so basically Yusuke unlocks the whole Mazaku form, and with Rising and Control just annihilate Sensui. I kind of feel like that's what they should have done with Ultra Instinct Goku, but we've already discussed in the past that we didn't really want it to necessarily end with Goku winning the whole thing. You know, it would have been cooler if the littler fighters fought and determined the whole thing in the end.
Well, 17 winning was a good choice, too.
Yeah, that was something
But Mike,
I liked.
we can also do a whole video discussing the ending and maybe what we would have changed as well, so maybe we should hold off on that.
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to Vegito, I feel like just based upon what we see with Kefla, for instance, Vegito might not be able to reach the level of Ultra Instinct's Omen, or at least Ultra Instinct Mastered, you know, complete, because what we saw with Kefla was that she fused together Caulifla and Kale. And Kale was said to be even more powerful in this controlled form than the Berserker form when she was fighting against Goku and some of these other people earlier on. She not only controlled it, but Krillin and Tien, I believe, said that her power had risen even more. And then when they fused together, they didn't just like one-shot Kaioken Blue Goku, you know, there was still a little bit of a fight before Goku eventually became Ultra Instinct again, you know, so after that point, Goku had the advantage. However, then we see that Kefla is powering up even more, and both Goku and Kefla are drawing out their innermost power. Do you think that there's any sort of situation where this would happen with Vegito, you know, maybe not attaining Ultra Instinct, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but do you think perhaps like Vegito could get stronger just like Goku did by drawing out his innermost power?
I think you can do that as any sort of being with any sort of massive ki, I suppose. You know, it's all about knowing how to draw out your power. You know, it's kind of a knowledge, kind of like going Super Saiyan in a way, I guess. Or, I hate bringing up Cell, just kidding, I don't. You know, Cell buffed himself up against Trunks, you know, increasing his power to a degree, but, you know, slowing down. There's more ki inside a lot of these beings than they might first initially understand, I guess. You know, you can heighten your power level for short bursts of times, but if you're asking, you know, would they still be increasing their powers against each other? I suppose so, but the thing is that Ultra Instinct Goku still whooped Kefla so bad that, I mean, Vegito Blue, I feel like would not have much struggle, really, to beat her.
Yeah, I think realistically it would make sense for Vegito to be able to beat her, just because of how strong the fusion relatively should be. You know, it should make perfect sense for two blues to destroy the combination of two, like, Super Saiyan 2 levels.
They're already individually stronger than Kale and Kefla individual, so it would make sense.
Yeah, So I think it would make sense from that perspective. But beyond that, Josh, this is where it starts to get really tricky, because there's still Topo, and there's still Jiren, and there's still, I guess, like, Aniraza, but it's mostly, like, the biggest foes.
Do we have to talk about Aniraza?
Not really.
Does anyone even want to hear about Aniraza?
I don't really think so. It was like a movie episode.
I think most people forget what, yeah, it was like a bad Dragon Ball movie.
Pretty much. But after that, we get into, you know, the fight against Topo and Jiren. And this is at this point.
Think about Topo.
Yeah, at this point, Goku and Vegeta have drawn out their power even more. Vegeta has his new form, which is like Super Saiyan Blue Evolution.
What a dumb name, but yeah, whatever.
And then Goku has all of his energy released, kind of like Gohan when he went Super Saiyan 2 the first time, plus his Kaioken Blue on top of it, so he's even stronger than ever. And they're pushing Jiren and Topo, like, I guess, past whatever they've shown before. But do you think that at this point they would be stronger than, like, Vegeta would have been prior? And let's say they fused at this point, when they're both at this level of power. Do you think that they'd be able to just destroy Jiren and Topo, or do you think that Jiren would still be too high of a benchmark?
It's very difficult, because let's say, you know, for the viewers, obviously note that the Goku and Vegeta here are much stronger than the ones that fought Zamasu and Goku Black.
Yeah.
So the Vegeto's naturally going to be much stronger just in his base form. He'll just naturally be stronger than he was in the Trunks arc.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we're going to give Vegeta, like, let's say that Blue Evolution form, you know, how comparable that is to Ultra Instinct? Not really, but...
No. I mean, maybe early Ultra Instinct.
I still understand the damn form. They don't explain these forms like Rage Trunks and all that.
Yeah.
They don't want to explain it. But it is obviously supposed to, I guess, supplement the Ultra Instinct form for Vegeta. It's supposed to be a supplement of that. You can tell with the eyes and the way. A little bit of how the aura changes, the same way where Rage Trunks was supposed to be kind of a supplement for Super Saiyan Blue. Obviously, with the blue aura. Wherever the hell that came from, I don't know.
And they never explained it in universe.
They've never explained it even in interviews, I don't think. But I could be wrong, because I've been slacking off on reading interviews. But, you know, if they gave Vegeta the Blue Evolution, I do see him beating Topo quite easily, obviously. Even if he didn't, I just feel like that Vegito, just the fusion multiplier should just be so much that I feel like that Vegito should be stronger than the Blue Evolution Vegeta that obviously defeated Topo. But as for Jiren, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms. It really is. You're talking about someone that needed the, I guess, full-powered, I guess you could say, the Ultra Instinct Goku to beat him. And I don't think a regular Vegito Blue would be enough for that. Obviously, someone like Ultra Instinct Vegito Blue, I feel like would be a no-brainer. If it was just a black hair, like the sign, I just feel like it would be too much for Jiren, because the fusion multiplier coupled with the multiplier, whatever it is for Ultra Instinct, however much power that unlocks.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's too much. Even something like Blue Evolution with Vegito, all these, this is gonna be like Dragon Ball Heroes characters in a couple months, just wait.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like even like a Blue Evolution Vegito would be too much for Jiren, just because the fusion multiplier is so big that if you add another powerful transformation on top of that past Super Saiyan Blue, I just think it's too much.
I mean, realistically, like, just considering how strong Goku and Vegeta were at that point and how they were pushing Jiren to use even more power than before, Jiren took, it seemed like, maybe a little bit of damage from that final flash to where it knocked him over, you know? Like, if they fused into Vegito, they should be able to destroy him. But again, Josh, you said you didn't want to bring it up, but I feel like we kind of have to.
No, it's not. If you're talking about ANIMELIVERACTIONS now, Mike, I don't want to hear it.
Do you think that Vegito possibly could defeat Jiren, even if he was strong enough, just because of the fact that if he uses too much energy, it could separate him?
Oh, okay. Thank God you didn't bring up that big guy. I was scared. So you're talking about if there's the power constraint in terms of them splitting up?
Yeah.
You're saying could... No, because that would just burn the power away if they use Ultra Instinct. That would just instantly sap it, I feel like. What I wanted to get into, Mike, is, you know, I think the most realistic thing here in terms of if they return of power, if they fused when Kefla did, they wouldn't have Blue Evolution or Ultra Instinct necessarily activating, I don't think, really. I don't think Ultra Instinct would activate again after that, I don't think.
I think that in terms of Vegito having actual Ultra Instinct, I think the fact that Vegeta is one of the components would make it really hard for that to happen, because Vegeta is someone who specifically went with that Blue Evolution form because he didn't want to do things Goku's way. So it seems like if Vegeta is purposely gonna not want that, would Vegito be able to do that? And I think that that's a really tough question to answer.
Right. That's a very, very good point. And you know, it is all speculation, it's a what if, but if we're going to go on realistically here, you know, assuming he doesn't unlock Ultra Instinct again after fusing, you know, would would a multiplier of Kaioken, because I think that's reasonable that he would use Kaioken if he had to. We don't see Vegito ever get pushed to his limits. It makes sense that he could use Kaioken if he had to, I think.
Yeah.
Would that be enough? Like a Kaioken times 10 Vegito Blue be enough for Jiren? I think that's a real debate right there. Because you're doing Super Saiyan Blue Vegito times 10, you know, he's not going to have the enhanced reflexes that Ultra Instinct has where he can dodge without even thinking. But in terms of raw power, you know, that's another story, I think.
That's the thing, because, again, we bring this up, Goku versus Jiren eventually came down to power, you know, like, Jiren was able to match up to Goku with Ultra Instinct because of that power, so...
Eventually, the fact that he could dodge without thinking kind of got washed away eventually. That was really something that was more in the initial stages of him transforming into the Omen stage, you know, and then even when he did it with the full powered with the white hair, he dodged a bit, but it kind of got washed away, you know, when Jiren got powered up, you know, it didn't really matter at that point. And I don't know if that was just bad writing or not, but, you know, oh well. It's tough to do fights like that, and, you know, you gotta give Dragon Ball credit where credit's due. It can't do everything perfect, especially when you're making these characters so much more powerful over time, and they keep powering up every single arc and every single fight they take. You know, there's few animes that have characters that can even match destructive power of Dragon Ball, you know. You have to pick and choose how you're gonna write certain fights, and it's not always easy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if Jiren can kind of close that gap just by unleashing more power, you know, breaking his own limits, then I think realistically Vegito, because of the fusion multiplier, should be able to beat Jiren if he doesn't diffuse during the process. So
the real problem is we just don't know how strong Ultra Instinct's, you know, final form, I suppose, is. It's beyond everything we've seen, really. Him and Jiren both are beyond everything we've seen, but would a Vegito Blue with Kaioken times 10 or 20 be beyond that as well, you know? We don't really know. My gut feeling tells me that like a times 20 Vegito should be on par with Jiren at least, but it's tough to answer. I think that's something people in the comments might even be able to answer better than us. You know, there's very intelligent people in this community I've seen in comments that, to be frank, know more than us sometimes, because they just have like an encyclopedia of knowledge and memory. It baffles me sometimes.
Exactly. So I think that this would have been a really big moment in the Tournament of Power and could have made a real difference as far as the climax goes. But this is the time when you tell us what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Do you think that Vegito Blue would have made a huge difference? Do you think that he would have been able to beat Jiren and win the entire tournament? Let us know in the comments down below. And of course, check out Dragon Ball Nation. He'll hopefully be uploading something soon.
Have your patience, people. It's coming.
And if you like this video, then make sure to stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And you better subscribe!
Yeah, the Vegito.